Welcome to Session Zero, everyone. This is just us kind of sitting around talking, fairly informal. A lot of this is probably going to be cut for you all, because at the end of the day, most of Session Zero should just be for your players, but we wanted to give you a sneak peek as to some of the stuff that we were willing to share. So we're going to talk about some stuff that's pertinent to some of their characters, maybe things that you as an audience don't know, and when that happens, it'll just be cut from the video and you'll know. Um, but we're going to go over some interesting stuff today, including when you can expect to see a stream, about how long the sessions are going to be, a little bit about the modern history, a little bit about the religion, kind of how the world's structured. We're going to go over characters, kind of what classes, races you might see. And then we're also going to roll stats, and you're going to see what everyone's kind of starting character sheet looks like. So without further ado, we're going to jump into it. So I'll start us off with introductions. I'm Jacob. I'm kind of the main DM here, although we're going to kind of rotate. I've created this setting, I've kind of created this world, although you will see kind of moving forward that others are going to be running stories in this setting, which ultimately I've given some of them the freedom to completely change stuff, and I will just roll with it, which I think is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see what crazy stuff is going to come up. I am our primary editor here, so I edit the videos, I make the shorts, I make a lot of the main graphics and stuff. So that's kind of my area of specialty, expertise. English apparently isn't. Uh,
That's weird.
and yeah. And yeah, I think that's really what needs to be known about me. I'm just a passionate storyteller who's really fallen in love with this game for the past 6 years or so. Started playing, actually, Seth, Josh, and I started playing in high school together. Um, and it's really opened up my eyes to storytelling and what you can do with a narrative. And I met Brian and Mal in our home game. At this point, we had a home game that lasted 3.5 years, that we held online, and it was the only campaign I've ever run and finished, and it's been one of the most surreal experiences of my life to meet these people and to become friends with them. And uh, yeah, while we don't have everyone from our home game here streaming, uh, we have uh, we have Mal, uh, Brian, Seth, myself, and then Josh uh, is a friend of Seth and I, and five of us have gotten ourselves fairly acquainted over the past few months. We've kind of decided we were going to do this around December, January time, I think is when the idea of really streaming kind of kicked off. So this has been in the works for a while, and this is something that we're excited to share with you all, and we hope that you join us for the ride, for the story, and for the laughs. And that's what I've got to say.
Guess it's my turn then.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm Mal. Um, I like Jacob said, this is how we all know each other through D&D. One thing about me is that I'm not great mechanically at the game, but I bring a lot of enthusiasm for my characters, so I think that'll make up for it.
I'm Brian. I've been playing D&D for way too goddamn long, in accordance with how old I fucking am. I've DM'd before. I've played before. I kind of unintentionally always take the leadership role because it always just ends up that way. I'm also probably planning on taking on a little bit more of our social media presence, and putting stuff out there on Twitter and Instagram and the stuff and the like. Other than that, enjoy what we produce. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know.
Do whatever you want.
All right. Hi, I'm Seth. Uh, I'm right now. I'm the guy, in the command zone. I'm fucking making sure everything runs together, correctly. When you see stuff move on stream, that's me. I did that. I guess if we're talking about our knowledge of the game, It's
He's our
too
rules
much.
lawyer.
It's
He's a
quite
good
literally
rules
too
lawyer.
much. It's a lot of people have the terms rules lawyer is like a thing they don't like, but hey, you know,
It's an endearing rules lawyer.
yeah. Because
Important
also,
role.
I'm fucking stupid. I forget about shit sometimes,
Yeah.
actively.
Seth is our rules lawyer. I feel like I'm very knowledgeable about the game, but there's stuff I can never remember off the top of my head. Or you'll constantly see me asking Seth questions. You'll see other people asking Seth questions. That's why.
The
He's our
thing, the
guy in the chair
thing I
overall.
really
In the
it's not that like it's rules lawyering. It's like I just like weird interactions. Like I
For
have
example,
done
in our first episode, me hitting myself and
the
knocking myself
bonk.
out of the dragon's grasp with the fighter attack.
Yeah, like what valid targets are and stuff like that, and that kind of things. Or like in the scenario where Mallory's character, Kira, banished herself twice in two different ways and got two completely different effects because of the way the banishment spell is worded. It will do a different thing depending on what plane you're on and when you target yourself with it. But yeah, that's me. Hopefully as this goes on, I'm gonna take a lot more of the back kind of role. Not in game, but like in the out of game kind of stuff. Managing, making sure everything's tip top.
And working,
Mhm.
mostly working.
Mostly working.
Fingers
Is
crossed.
this working? Yes. Okay, we're good.
Good.
Hey, I'm Josh. I know Seth and Jacob since like elementary school to middle school, and I recently met Mel and Brian, cool people. Um, I've played D&D on and off since the end of high school. I played Ursaluna in the kind of prequel three-shot we did, and I'll be playing Wave Gravia in this upcoming campaign. That's all that's pertinent to know about me for now.
Fair enough. Right, and I think that's also a good thing to note because some people know exactly who and what they're playing in this next campaign, and some people don't know at all. And that is part of what we're figuring out today because we are going to be rolling stats and getting all of our characters pretty much sorted out. Uh, so yeah, who feels the most and least confident about what their character is and what plans they have for them?
Well, I'm sure Josh is 100% confident in his character. His character's named. He's good.
Got this too.
And
I
so
have a
is Seth.
single-
Ex-
How this-
Seth
excluding
has
stats, my
already-
character sheet's done.
Yeah. The people who are the least confident are probably me and Mal.
I have a single
Mal-
word
Mal has not
to
even
describe.
selected a class or anything.
I
Not because she doesn't know, but because she's like, I could do this. I could do that.
so many things.
I have fun with this, but I could do this.
I do a jumping. I do a
Um,
kicking.
Right now, the goal is we're going to stream every other Saturday, 10:30 a.m. EST. For us, roll call is going to be at like 10, and this is for us to just kind of chat. Also, if there is like an emergency and people are running late, then we have a bit of buffer time.
Yep.
And then also, if Seth needs to set anything up, like anything's messed up, gives him time to fix things. Uh, Session length, I think we're gonna max out 3.5 hours, which brings us to 2, which Mal should give you enough time for work. But I think I'm gonna try to keep it on the 2.5 to 3 hour side, but just like an extra 30 minutes is like a bit of buffer, in case anything crazy happens. I feel like you guys are fairly familiar with the history of the setting, um,
I wonder why.
but to
Oh yeah, how much further in the future is this?
So this campaign tentatively, and if anyone has any reasons as to why they'd like things to be earlier on, I'm not super set in the timeline. So sorry. Tentatively, this takes place 552 years later. So we have gone through another age, which is the Renaissance, which essentially is a period in time where after the Dark Ages, similar to our own history, um, that there was this revitalization period where art, music, um, uh, new products, new foods were kind of discovered and shared throughout the Central Empire, which has now kind of um, become an organized unit. I'll move us actually off from the final boss fight to the world map because I don't know if everyone's seen this yet.
Oh,
But this
this
is
would
the
be a
world map. This would be what?
this would be a really good time for a bard. Reading the Age of Renaissance. That
Yeah.
would make sense.
So we're going to be starting in southern Voshea. So Voshea kind of stretches up, but is divided by the Aethel Peaks. So we're going to start in that central region there, in the Central Ocean, all that good jazz. And it is in the modern age, which essentially after the Renaissance, the modern age is one where now that there has been this revitalization and things have been discovered or things have been rediscovered and things have been created anew, there is this newfound fascination with the old and kind of digging up uh, the old relics of the past and going back and trying to discover old parts of history that were lost during the Dark Ages. Because um, something to note is a lot of the inspiration for this world is inspired off of our real world and our real history. But what if the entire concept of what if God slept um, is the biblical idea that the world was created in 7 days and on the seventh day God rested. In this setting, uh, a similar thing, but instead of resting, God fell asleep and for a very very long time. Um, and that allowed Satan to not just tempt Adam and Eve, but it also allowed him to tempt a bunch of other angels in ways where they had cataclysmic effects on the world itself. Um, but the world is still going to kind of progress in a similar fashion, which is why, despite things happening differently, there's still like the biblical flood. It just happens in a different way. You still have the Dark Ages. It just happens in a different way. There's still the Renaissance. It just happens in a different way. And so there's going to be references to real world historical people, but they're going to be renamed. They're going to be like a different race, maybe a different gender. But like you can see where the inspiration may come from the real world. Um, for example, this first setting, this first city uh, that we are going to really start in, called Frodea, is named after who's kind of the greatest artist of all time, Frodo stone painter, who is of course inspired off of Michelangelo, one of the greatest artists of all time. So there's like, and she's a dwarven carver and artist, um, and yeah, and so there's a just as a general like feel and vibe. If you guys want to do anything that's like, oh, this is like, you want to be inspired by different points of history or different um, things that happen in our world, that's totally cool, and that kind of works into things. There's also a huge inspiration from many different mythologies, including Greek, including Celtic, mostly those two in relation to Christianity. Um, and I guess the way religion works for any characters who are really looking to be religious, essentially it's the way like a pantheon would work, or like a kingship would work. So you've got your king, which is like the creator, and you give respect and you give prayers to like the lower subordinates. It's like how Lumina was able to like give praise to Alfara while still like respecting the creator. It's like this tethered connection kind of deal. It's like a chain. Um, so in this setting, angels do give power similar to deities, and the way I have it is essentially angels can act as patrons for clerics, and then I have an entire section of other creations of cosmic beings that can act for warlock patrons, or in special circumstances, maybe cleric patrons. Um, but for the most part, these are entities that exist and have three-dimensional form. In fact, that's something I really want to preface, is that everything in this universe except the creator has a three-dimensional form, which I think is very important for the concept of. I think getting into the idea of like late game, like we are killing gods. I don't know if that's the direction this campaign's going to go. I really, truthfully, don't know at this point. But that gets really complicated as you have to try to explain how these things can happen, how a three-dimensional being can kill a higher power. Um, which is why I really wanted to go with something tangible, which is why I wanted to go the route of a lot of the beings of influence in this world. They're not gods per se, they're more so highly powerful angelic beings, um, some of which have turned to devils and demons, which now um, reign terror on the universe itself. So that's really the, I guess, the way the religion works, kind of the modern history of the setting. Um, and for our audience, we are going to be creating some lore videos moving forward, kind of about the history.
Actually, real quick, before we talk about specific player kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I think we should take a second to talk about what we want from a campaign, from a
Yeah,
streamed campaign. Like, what's the kind of stories we want? What's the kind of
Uh,
themes?
First off,
I want
heroes,
a
yes, no.
happy ending.
Yeah, happy ending. Okay.
that's
Uh,
relative
That's it.
to your actions.
Okay, well,
Also to
I want you to
dice.
make me.
Yes.
yes. So, hero campaign is my first question.
Hmm. I
Um,
mean,
Is this a hero campaign?
yeah.
Is this a anti-hero campaign? Is this
The way
just
I've kind of
dudes?
the way I've kind of seen this is I guess from like another kind of stream game perspective, I think this is probably almost like a Mighty Nine if you have to think of like stream campaigns that have existed as like a popular one. Whereas I don't see you guys being like the full out like heroes in plated armor slaying epic dragons to save the entire world or whatever.
It's more
Um,
heroes by circumstance.
yeah, that's kind of how I personally see this game going. There is definitely going to be, I think, heroic things to do.
Okay.
We're not the world's problem solvers. We're just solving our own problems.
And if those problems happen to be the world's problems, then
Happy coincidence.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then also is just kind of what I like, this kind of stories I like. I am a huge fan of like I've really gotten to like long-lasting mystery, unfolding plots that kind of occur in the world. Um, so out of the characters who I do have information for, I already have one of the ideas for the campaign like solidified in my head as like the long ongoing narrative. And I already know the twists and turns that come with it. And then I also have some stuff generally that are going on in the setting that I think of this is the way I really imagine. I'm a huge film guy, and I have a certain perspective when it comes to movies versus TV shows. I really think movies are to tell a story, and your characters are simply a vessel in which the narrative flows through. I think it's the exact opposite with a TV show and with a campaign.
Mhm.
I think your characters are the story, and the adventure and the circumstances are simply the guide to kind of watch those characters and their development through. So the same thing with a campaign, like the world and the story that's happening is simply the circumstance. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I want the characters to be the focus. I want them to really be at the center of everything and their development to really be the core and the charm of the story of a whole. And ultimately, the circumstances of the events that unfold are going to mold and change those characters. But it's not that I'm trying to tell my story, and you guys are just kind of going with it like a module would. Um, I feel like a module is more of a movie,
Mhm.
um, where this is the story and the characters are just here to tell it.
Mhm.
Um, Whereas with this, I really want it to be more of you oriented, um, and really be your story to tell. So Yeah, I think that's the easiest way to put it. There are going to be things that happen that are maybe outside of your backstories, outside of your characters, because the world continues moving on. How you interact with that is up to you. Um, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Is this a high magic campaign, mid magic, low magic?
This point in time, it's kind of a mid magic.
Okay.
Um, my explanation for why you guys had all the items that you did, on why the people you were fighting had what they did is because I mean they were tyrannical rulers who had ruled for 1,000 years, nearly 1,000 years.
And we
Um,
were level
The
20.
best of the
and you
best.
were level 20, and all the resources of the realm were kind of funneled into your pockets to try to just bring an end to all this. So everything that they had, um, everything you had was all kind of prepared for this moment. Um, but that is not the standard. Like in the world, there was pretty much no magic. The things that you had on you were relics of the past or things that had been passed down generations, um, or been prepared by the kingdom for a long, long period of time in preparation for something like this to take place. In this setting now, there has been a revitalization of magic, but there's a lot to learn. So, someone as a wizard, I think you might have a lot of fun because uh, there's going to be, I think, I want to have bountiful opportunities for you to kind of rediscover magic and then also to create your own. So, like, I think you and I will sit down, maybe go through like some lost spells, quote unquote, that like mortals simply do not have at this point anymore, because it is just information that's lost. Most of that stuff is probably going to be things like plane shift, teleport, things like that, which kind of make the world a bit larger. Um, and those magics have been lost for centuries, and that might be a fun storyline for you as an academic who's looking to pursue that, um, either creating your own spells or uh, quote unquote, whether they're actual spells that exist or you and I create some spells, or
And
if it's
just
you kind of,
renaming them. Just
yeah,
that'd be fun.
or if it's you discovering old lost magics. Like I think that might be a fun avenue for us to explore. I will say for a technological perspective, I really want to go based on like the Renaissance. However, um, I am a huge fan of like the Da Vinci machines.
Oh well,
Of
that's
like
I think that
Yeah,
falls in line
yeah,
with
yeah, and
with
that's
the
basically
Renaissance.
yeah.
exactly.
Wooden pulleys and that.
Yeah, exactly. So like that kind of like art of like that kind of work and stuff is probably being developed and used to create some weird things. And like you look at some of the stuff Da Vinci had conceptualized, and it's crazy shit.
Oh yeah,
And
his
so like
submarine.
yeah, so like in a setting with magic, I think that stuff could work, but it's definitely not gonna be like your steampunk kind of thing. It's probably gonna be your more like it's a bit flimsy. Like the stuff you build, like the resources you have access to, the kind of um, strength of metals that you have at your disposal is not like the modern day.
What are you playing, Josh? You're playing a wizard, right? Are you playing
Yeah,
graviturgy?
Gravaturgy.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
Well,
sir.
actually,
So
hey, we'll
so
have all
we do have
spell
somebody to
sets.
explore. We do have somebody to explore that. Okay. That was the main thing that I
Mhm.
was thinking about was I wanted somebody to have the ability to explore that magic side with Jacob because that sounds fucking hilariously amazing.
Uh,
I am whizzing it up.
You're gonna riz up Jacob, just like hey.
Everyone will get their chance.
yeah.
Oh, we're all gonna
Oh,
get a chance
God.
to riz up Jacob. Bet.
Just saying.
I gotta start training.
Hey yo, what would your girlfriend say?
He's fine.
Because I'm so dark. It's so dark, like
It's because you're
compared to
backlit.
everybody else.
It's because you're
Yeah.
backlit.
Yeah.
Like
Just get you got a lamp in that room?
I do not. It's a titty. It's a titty lamp.
It's one that it's one.
It's a
one
ceiling
of them.
titty.
One of them.
One of them ceiling titties. I see.
Yes, yes. Hold on, let me.
Can't say I'm well acquainted with those.
You don't have a ceiling titty?
No.
It's just a regular lamp. It's
Oh.
just it's got a fucking nipple on it.
It's a ceiling titty.
I've never
I
heard
can't
it called
unsee that now.
Yeah.
I never looked at him like that. Now I can't not look
You
at
see,
them
the
like that.
thing, the thing
Ceiling
is,
titties.
Do you
I,
have a titty too?
I have had ceiling titties, but I didn't know they produced light.
Oh my goodness. Can I show you guys what this is
I
what the
mean,
light in my room looks like?
I
The
mean, though.
natural light.
What?
I have lamp set up. But I think this is much worse as far as like a fire hazard goes.
Yeah. I,
Jacob Ender's.
I need to get curtains for that because the blinds are down on that window. They're all the way down and closed.
Jacob
But
and
all you can
exposed
see
cords.
Yeah.
is the light of God behind me.
So yeah, any other questions about campaign, anything, or do we want to move just into talking more about characters and
I'm sure campaign questions will come up as we are talking about characters, as we think
Mhm.
about it more.
Mhm.
But for now, yeah, we can move
Also-
on from.
question I have.
Yeah.
I love dice. You know
Mhm.
me. I love randomization. And I know that with our home game, Josh, you this is new to you. We've been using Xanathars a lot just to like spice things up in backstory creation. Would
Mm.
people be interested in doing that here?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, so there's some things that are definitely there already, but also, yeah, we'll do that. 100%.
I don't know what it is, but I'm down.
Xanathars is a really
basically
good resource.
Creates backgrounds. Creates
No.
background stories
Character.
for your
Yeah,
character.
so you just like, hey, which honestly,
So you roll on a table.
Jacob, what's the max you can do for that one? Like the max number of events and NPCs?
12.
12? Okay, so on that D12, Havoc rolls a 12. We're saying
Well,
that
I
now.
think it's for age. It is based on age. So the older you are, it becomes like a D12.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
So you get like these fun life experiences.
Just look up the table myself.
Yeah. It's a really fun resource that I've really enjoyed using. I had a DM use it and I thought it was quite interesting. Yeah. So at 61 years or older, it's a D12. You guys I think are all in the 20 to 30 ages. So it's a D4. Um, so there's a table, it's a D100 with a bunch of life events. And there can be different adventures, different NPCs, supernatural events, tragedies, weird stuff that just happens. And I think it's a really fun resource for kind of fleshing out a character once they've already kind of been come up with, once there's some backstory. This just kind of gives you some extra stuff to work with, gives me some extra stuff to work with. And I think it's just a really great resource I would encourage any other DM to use, or at least take a look at.
Especially when it comes to creating new characters,
Mhm.
it really does help a player flesh out their character without having to spend grueling, like not grueling hours, but it takes less time to build a character from the ground up this way.
And you
And
learn
I've
things you
seen-
may have never learned.
Yeah, correct.
Alfie's
It
racist
allows you.
against short people.
For example, we have had characters that have ended up racist against short people.
It's fair.
Right.
And I've also used it for amnesiacs. Like I'll have them roll the dice, but then I won't
Yep.
tell them what results they're getting. And that ultimately helps craft who they were before they fell asleep, per se. So yeah, overall great resource, and I think that's something we'll jump into a little bit later once we get a better idea for everyone. And some of this information you might get, some of it you might not, depending on how pertinent to the character it seems. Just for the sanctity of keeping the story something refreshing and new for you as an audience. But yeah, I think we'll just kind of get moving. I think we'll start with the people who already know what they're doing. 100%. Like no questions asked at this point. So Seth and Josh both have had ideas for their characters before we even ran 3-shot. So yeah, I guess Josh, you are going to be playing Wave Gravia, a Graviturgy wizard. what are you looking for his character arc? Like, what do you really desire?
So the kind of idea I had for Wave was this kind of bright-eyed, bushy-tailed scholar who is pretty much just so in love with his passion of practicing magic, learning magic, discovering magic. When you and Brian were talking, you kind of mentioned this already, but just the notion of being able to explore the world magically. Um, and I've been looking at the Kalistar race just because I thought the idea of that, like, two souls in one body was really interesting. I kind of have an idea of like um, a naive younger person whose focus on his ambitions can kind of make him a little bit blind to the happenings in the world. So I guess something that I'd be interested in exploring would be testing the boundaries between um, his pursuit of his own passion and happiness versus how that may or may not be detrimental to um, the people around him, just whether that just be strangers or people as close as family. Just kind of seeing how much he pushes that envelope until he realizes that sometimes you can have too much of a quote unquote good thing.
I guess moving to Havoc.
So, first thing for Havoc, I will be playing a custom class that I have been making for the past
Too damn long.
5, 6, as long as I've been playing D&D, I've been working on this homebrew
You
class.
The very first campaign I ran,
The
you
second
were
character I ever played.
yeah,
Uh,
you have been working on this homebrew.
Also, just to give some insight into my D&D history, the second character was a homebrew class. The first character was the Mystic when it was first released. So that's kind of
Almost
where I
perfect
started.
in existence,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, no, it was. I remember we had literally the reason why I played that second character was because we had to write my character out because we were like, oh, this thing's too strong. Yeah, it's the battle mage. The idea of the battle mage is that um what happens to the son of a sorcerer, right? Um there's got to be some kind of magical essence, but like maybe it's not as much as their parent. So the thing about the battle mage is it's essentially an elementalist. You pick one like magical type of damage, and that's your thing. You get resistance to it. Eventually, you'll get immunity. At 17th level, you get absorption to it. Um, and you get the ability to like cut through resistance and immunity. At higher and higher levels. And the kind of idea of the battle mage, it's not necessarily that like you can only cast that element. It's just that the magic inside of you is kind of powered by that. So in a similar way that like a red dragon sorcerer can do fire magic and is good at fire magic, uh, they can do other stuff. They can still cast haste and counterspell and stuff like that. The battle mage I will be playing is a more team-oriented defensive type. So, very similar to Lumina, I'll be given these 3 temp HP, and I'll be doing a lot of mechanically in combat, giving disadvantage to enemies and using my reaction to take damage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Emotionally, Havoc is an idiot. He's a poser. He is a not good person. Havoc, I think at the largest level, Havoc is immature. He is the type of person who ran away from home at 16, right? And he thinks that living the life of an adventurer, aka being homeless, is cool. Right?
Isn't it?
The thing I was reading, Jacob, in like some of your world building, the thing that really caught my eye was the exploring the land for the sake of exploring the past. That this world has opened up at this point, and there is treasures and riches and lost spells and lost artifacts and all that kind of stuff just waiting to be found. And I think that's an aspect of this world that Havoc has latched onto. He is fully on that like age of discovery mindset. However, he's a dipshit. Like the thing is, Havoc is the kind of person that, like, he gives 120% all of the time. 120% of the time. He is like a big ball of infinite energy that you don't quite understand how he keeps going. But the other thing is, he is a poser, and he is 100% not cool. I'm laying this down right now. Havoc is not a cool person. He thinks he is, though. He thinks what he does and how he acts is cool. Right? Like, if this was, 1900s, like 1950s or 60s, he would think dressing like a greaser is cool, and wearing a wife beater and black leather coat, and smoking and working on cars is awesome. Like, he would be that kind of person. But, it's the Renaissance.
I don't see where he's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with working on an open engine with a cigarette in your mouth. Nothing wrong with that.
Fine.
Yeah.
Nothing could ever go wrong.
Nothing. But yeah, he's that kind of person. But this is the only redeeming quality Havoc has. And it is actually something, I talked a little bit about this with Heartsuck, and maybe with you two, Brian and Mal, as well, depending on how we want to go with this. Havoc's only redeeming quality is that he is a good friend. He is nice to his friends. He comes to their aid when they need it, and even if they don't ask for it, he will be there for his friends. And that's like the only thing he has going for him. The problem, though, is he is that type of person who gives 120%. So in some scenarios,
You don't need that.
you don't need that, right? Like, something, Heartsuck, you didn't mention, but, Wave being easily susceptible to bullies. Havoc would be the kind of person to walk up, right? Normally, you see your friend getting made fun of with somebody, you walk up, you make fun of that person. You make fun of them for being short or something, right? I don't know.
I hate short people here.
Yeah.
If you're short, fuck you.
I mean, it's easier. You're shorter.
What are you gonna do?
EP Short King.
Short?
This is coming from the guy who played Chicken Little in the 4th grade elementary school play.
But right, like, normally, somebody makes fun of your friend, so you make fun of them, right? That's the normal response. Havoc would walk over to that person, kick out their knee, grab them, suplex them into the ground, and then start doing a dance while making fun of them. Like, Havoc's that kind of person, where that is not the appropriate response. But it did its job, I guess. They're not gonna make fun of your friend? Okay.
They're not gonna do a lot of things.
They're not gonna breathe.
And the thing that I want for Havoc's character is him maturing. There is a thing I haven't mentioned, which cut right here, Jacob, because this is not for the audience kind of thing, but these three can know. Havoc is the kind of person just to be smoking in the quad, hitting on random women. Um,
Oh.
because yeah, again,
Oh.
he's not a good guy.
Oh.
Bad boy Havoc.
Uh,
Oh. Every time you
Um.
speak, Havoc gets worse.
Again, you make your character terrible so that way you have room to go up. I mean, there's still a floor underneath of where Havoc is. I could make him worse.
I can make it worse.
We could make him worse.
But yeah, if you want your characters to have known Havoc or not, because I don't know, Jacob, how you were thinking of us coming together. If you
That is a
wanted that
question,
like meet in the
actually.
bar scene, or if you want us all to like know each other in some regard, or if you want one of us to be like, oh, this is the one that knows everybody.
Cool. So now that we've got kind of the two people who know what they're doing, Brian, do you have a more confident? Do you want to go artificer? Do you want to go sorcerer? Or
The barbarian's still on the table, right? Because obviously I liked that idea, and we talked about it, and exploring that idea sounds fun. But with how everybody's talking about their characters seem a lot more exploratory of the world. It did not really feel like this character, the barbarian itself, would be exploratory. It just felt like,
More about inner.
yeah,
you don't necessarily have to. Like, you can have your own. Like, it might be the story and the search for adventure that's causing people to wander and discover, but maybe you're wandering for a different reason.
the barbarian, I'm just having trouble figuring out why they're exploring and why they are not with a herd.
That could be a thing. Maybe he is trying to find purpose or like identity or something in life, or um I'm not going to tell you to go an amnesiac again.
Part 2.
But
I hate that was also the first thought that crossed my mind as
Yeah.
well, is just he's an amnesiac yet again.
oh my goodness.
Which I don't want to do again, because for as fun as Barry was,
It could also be a thing where like your herd's gone, or maybe you've been banished from the herd, where your people, and this is you're wandering, you're going out seeking these things, or because, well, I've got no other place to belong, I've got nothing else I'm doing, I'm simply trying to find that same peace I had long ago, or not that long ago. Like there's a lot of different routes we could go with the whole barbarian route. If that's your only concern as to the character not fitting,
it is my only
I, I,
concern.
I think we can definitely find a way to work through that and
Okay,
find
then yeah, Mr. Barbarman is probably what I'm going to be going with then, because I did like what we talked about with just the feral barbar, especially with the Path of the Beast Barbarian.
Yeah, Brian, I definitely think introducing some level of tragedy into that would be the way to go. Like whether it be, the only issue I will say, making it goal oriented, like the tragedy goal oriented, would put a like stopgap on your character. Like let's say, the tragedy is your horde was slaughtered and you're the only survivor, right? Very like simple to the point kind of tragedy. If it's a revenge story, there is a like your character is seeking revenge.
What is after revenge?
Yeah.
Life after revenge.
Now, if it's something like you've been kicked
It'd be
out of the
interesting to
herd,
explore, though.
and that is the
Are you
tragedy.
trying to prove yourself to your tribe, or are you trying to like completely distance yourself?
Because then you have the story of the coming to accept yourself as you are, and also the search for home kind of thing that Jacob said a second ago. Could be a very interesting plot point. Because, homes where the heart is, family,
Mhm.
Found family.
family.
Go with. I don't want to go with the herd is destroyed, because if the herd is destroyed, there's nothing to come back to. There's nothing for the character to really explore,
Mm.
and it's a done story. There's nothing to explore with that story.
Okay.
Really. I mean, yes, I could find out who did it, blah 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 blah, but that story kind of ends itself very quickly on vengeance, and then it's the growth of the character outside of that.
Mhm.
I would like the herd to still be around,
Mhm.
and I'd like the character to be kicked out of the herd. Um, why was the character kicked out of the herd? Because of the Path of the Beast? Yes. Um,
Was it an action that was done, or was it the simple existence of it? I think that could also be an interesting avenue to explore, because there could be an active,
it could be
like,
both.
yeah, there could be, like, we could work with
It
a,
could be a
like,
nature versus nurture thing where they thought they could help me control it,
Mhm.
right? And then something happened and they're like, "We can't help you. You
Yeah.
need to leave," right? It could be
There
both.
there could also be, if depending on the route you wanted to go, like a self-inflicted guilt and punishment that, like, is
They th-
self-inflicted in this
they
of, like,
they thought
it,
they could help me. Something happened. I did something horrible, and they're
Mhm.
like, "No, no, no. We can still help you." And my character's like, "No,"
Yeah,
and
like,
just
Actually, that'd be
leaves.
a very interesting thing. If you're not banished, you're banishing yourself.
Self-inflicted banishment.
mhm. I
Yeah,
think that would be a really cool, and breaking, like, the stereotype of, oh, I got kicked out of my herd, yada yada. I think that's a unique story, because it's one of self-forgiveness
Mhm.
above anything else, and I think that might be a really fun avenue to
I
explore.
am thinking of a thing.
So I have a lot of these other creations, which I think some of them could be a uh, good thing to look at. I'm gonna go with the ones that I think make sense. One being Lycaon, which is actually the origin of the werewolf. Like, in kind of, I took that idea from Greek mythology, the king of lichens and eating and sacrifice and murder and stuff. There's also the route of that similar bestial thing, Mother Mesty, also known
That
as,
was
like,
something that that I
mhm,
kind of tossed at you as some maybe
Mhm.
this is some sort of Mother Misty creation.
mhm. But then I think the other thing is, Tiamat, while in the setting, looks a bit different. Because I like the idea of Tiamat, and she's not just a D&D thing. Like, she is like an actual
She
mythological.
does exist outside of D&D,
Hmm.
yes. It is
Yeah.
just where she is most recognized.
Hmm. I think that she would be like an interesting thing, and in this setting, she's described as like a having like these spirit, like the spirits of dragons surround her, rather than she has all the different heads. She's instead this massive worm, which can manifest like these different spirits around her, um, and maybe that would be like an interesting avenue where it's like a possession of like one of these spirits that she controls, or if we want to go the dragon route rather than the
I do want to
abominations
go
of nature.
I do want to go the dragon route and stick to the dragon route, especially because I'm kind of thinking that this is a herd of dragonborn.
Mhm.
And they do follow the path of like barbarians and stuff like that. Maybe they aren't path of the
Or
beast.
I could make something completely new, because one of my favorite characters for this setting and creating stuff has been Lilith, um, the demon mother, who is technically the first wife of Adam, who fled and became like corrupted and
Yep.
consumed and has given birth to the demons. So maybe this weird, messed up dragon demon hybrid thing that is like a spawn of hers, because most, if you read through these monsters, half of them Lilith birthed.
Actually, Lilith the Demon Mother actually sounds really fucking cool. On more than just a name, because yeah. Um, so self-inflicted exile because something happens. I don't want
Mhm.
my character to remember what happens as well.
Okay,
I
cool.
just want him to know that he did something fucking horrible.
When we get to rolling dice, you're gonna roll some extra ones.
Cool.
Jump around over to Mal and start figuring things out here.
So I've been looking at it the entire time, and I've got Ascendant Dragon and Way of the Drunken Fist pulled up right now.
Okay.
And they're two very different things.
They
Uh,
are.
So for the Drunken Monk, I was thinking since Wave and Havoc are going to be at the college,
Mhm,
there's sports teams at Ivy League colleges, right?
Oh
mhm.
my god.
I will say
Jock?
I am open to changing the school, right?
Drunken Jock?
But the school I have in mind for here, specifically this city,
Mhm.
this kind of has to do with the origins of it. And um, I'll read this now just to kind of give like an idea of an opening. You should have access to it.
What is it?
If you guys look at um, region, Central Empire, Frodea, um, is once was a dwarven city of Kragnok. It was renamed to Frodea a few centuries ago when it was discovered that kind of considered the greatest artist of all time, Frodelangelo, stone painter, also known as Frodel, died and was buried here, spending the final years of her life here during the ancient days, the time of reckoning, and the time of the flood. And in honor of her legacy and contributions to art, the city has was named after her several years ago during the New Art Renaissance, during that Renaissance period when some of her stuff was kind of discovered and used like as an inspiration for a lot of the new culture, a lot of the art. She was like a very inspirational figure, as a lot of her stuff was uncovered, rediscovered, and people were seeking out elements of her essentially. Like she is like a for artists and historians, she's a very sought out individual. And for this city has now has a school um, that is known as Stone Paint Institute or something like that. I might change the wording, Stone Paint University.
Mhm.
But essentially, they're mostly known for their architecture, art, and history programs. However, that doesn't mean that they can't have anything else there.
Well, they may be a jock, but they are also they're on scholarship
Okay,
for
but
some.
I just thought for people to know, and Josh, I know that's not necessarily your route, and you might not be from this school. Um, we
And we
can,
can talk about that more down
yeah.
like
Mhm.
But
in a
this
bit.
was the school I had in mind, like in the starting location.
Mentally, I was just thinking how Havoc would be in this place, and then I was also thinking how Josh, right? You know, like on the bio and info page on like character sheets on Roll20. I was thinking how Josh writes his like their goddamn Tinder profiles.
Right?
I was
Yeah.
thinking of
Oh
Havoc's
yeah.
written like that, and I started mentally thinking of like I'm Havoc, a cool and jazzy guy. Uh
Perfect.
Have we
then I
got
just
Please
thought,
don't make that
profile
Havoc's
up?
voice.
what? This is me,
No.
Havoc.
Radical dude.
Ooh, I cool.
Rock
I
and
love
roll.
it. I love it so much.
Let's crush these waves like we crushed them foes.
Crush them
Fuck
foes like
yeah,
we
bro.
crush that puss, bro.
Oh
Yo!
god. Please no.
All right, you're
You're done.
No,
You're
no.
You're
done.
done.
That go to
Yeah.
timeout.
Get in there.
Uh, yeah.
Um, but I am gonna do a fawn.
Mhm,
On monk. I just don't know.
okay.
Are you doing Jumpy Boy?
I want to. Okay, so what would I need to do in order
Okay,
to jumpy
so
like jumper?
I would give you an item fairly early on called the Ring of Jumping.
Okay.
It's not a super crazy item. I think it's uncommon.
I
Um,
recognize it. Yeah, it's uncommon
yeah.
if I remember correctly.
It basically just allows you to, yeah, it's uncommon, requires attunement. You can cast a jump spell as a bonus action at will, but you can only target yourself. So you can do it all the time and jump.
Yeah.
I think it lasts for a minute. Um,
I think it would be really funny to have this like super intelligent uh jock that's just doing long jump
Mhm.
at the school.
Yeah.
and
Now
just
you
know.
probably wouldn't be allowed to use your ring,
Yeah.
like whenever it comes up. And maybe that's a starting item. Maybe everyone gets one uncommon,
Mhm.
um, just to like help kind of flush them out. I think maybe we'll do that. Maybe there's a story behind each item that you guys have. That might be a fun way to further develop characters, but I think I'd be cool with that. Um, so you have a ring of jumping, which essentially um, triples your jump distance. And your jump distance would be equal to your strength score.
Mhm.
Um, but as a what's it called?
As a
Monk.
fawn.
A fawn. You can add a D8 to your jump score.
Mhm.
Any jump check you make, and there's not a charge on that. It's just something you do.
Something I
Uh,
get.
and then as a monk, you also get um, let me see, step of the
It's
wind.
double.
Jump
Mhm.
distance is doubled. So essentially, your jump distance is multiplied by 6, and then you add an extra d8 to the end of that. So let's say you start off with a strength of 14.
Mhm.
You at most could jump 92 feet.
I like how you said at most, like
Ooh.
it was like it's a small number, but
Like
that's
that's your long jump.
Wait,
Would
it's a
be
D8, Jacob?
And
it's a d8, yeah.
Jacob, that's not 92 feet. Long jump is strength score. That'd be 132.
Strength score? Wait, did I do it wrong? I
Well,
said
don't
if you
forget.
start it at like 14,
Yeah,
right?
14.
Mhm.
Yeah, plus
Times
8.
6 plus 8.
Plus 8 times 6. The 8 would be
Oh,
multiplied by 6 too.
that's right. I didn't do that. Oh, that's a
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
lot
yeah,
better
yeah,
than
yeah,
even
I
yeah.
better.
thought it
Also,
was.
don't forget for this jump build, the boots of Trident is springing, which
Mhm,
also
mhm.
triple it again.
Yeah, so that's something you maybe get down the line as well.
I'm gonna
So
go so
Um,
fucking fast.
you don't even need to like increase your whatchamacallit. That's just a 400 jump speed.
mhm. Now
So
that requires using your bonus
Two.
action
mm,
to a
Uh,
bonus action to set up and then a bonus action to go that far on your turn. And I know technically rules is written. You
that's
only
boots
have
of
movement. You only have movement up to your movement speed.
mhm.
Um, but I think we can come up with like a mechanic where because you're moving and you're jumping. So I think you have to we'll say you have to move like forward 10 feet
Okay,
to like kind of get your running head start.
and then
And
I
then
can.
once you jump, we'll say you have another we'll say your movement ends. Like
I mean,
after you
yeah,
jump, your movement
you could
ends.
just
Yeah, that's
say like she can like let's say she's jumping 400 feet, right?
Hmm.
Um, she can start a jump, start going 400 feet, but she just ends her turn halfway through the jump, right? Like let's say her movements like she wants to go 100 of that 400, but she can only go 80. She'll end 20 like she'll only get 20 feet from the ledge.
Mhm,
Hmm.
And then, she can do whatever actions she wants there. And then on her next turn, the first thing she has to do is finish the jump.
mhm.
Yeah. Okay. We could run it like that. I
Yeah.
would say that. Yeah. I think this sounds like a fun character. What's their person? So they're a jock.
So they
They're
are a very amiable jock when they are in control of the situation. But if they're losing, they are not very nice.
Mhm,
Um, they tend to try to control like everything around them.
mhm.
So like Havoc being himself will probably frustrate them quite a good deal. Uh, I don't know
So the
how
question is
Wave is going to
is
act.
Havoc your drug dealer?
Oh, I get
Have-
oh
steroids.
my god,
Havoc 100%.
the plug, the plug.
I feel like there's like a it's a tense friendship between the two of them. Like
Mhm,
the Mega Jumper needs Havoc, but
Mhm.
doesn't like Havoc per se as he is right now. Mega Jumper is very chivalrous. Say that. Like they're very like righteous.
Okay. So is the drunken technique because part of it is like the way it's written is like this incompetent swaying. I've reflavored it in before to be like the way of the dancer kind of deal,
Mm.
to be more of like an elegant, flowy, deceptive kind of deal. You could reflavor it to how you want it as well. Um, do you want it to just be like
Uh,
a
I
I
think
don't
the
know how you want
drunken
to.
thing would be I think the drunken thing would be fun because I don't think they actually drink. They just put on that air because it gives them a little bit more control over how people perceive them.
So your major is in history, um, but your passion is jumping.
Yes.
What is the mega jumper's desires in life? Is it like I am going to jump to the moon? Is
So
it like
are herring guns fey creatures or are they
well, Fey is a relative term because
Mhm.
the Fey realm is not a realm that exists in this setting. However, Fey are used to describe creatures that are kind of created off the creations of Feyre, one of the fallen angels. So a lot of Fae are things that were created by Feyre or created by things that Feyre created. And they are mostly like these chaotic natural beings that just kind of lurk and
Mhm.
exist in the world. Um, and are he is known for his change, joy, messengers, and mischief. And is a domain of nature and trickery, at least as like a patron.
Mhm.
Um, and is kind of the embodiment of the traditional D&D Fey realm, kind of adapted into a world without the Fey. Um, so they're all like cousins to one another. I think is like they kind of the way I have it in my head is like maybe the Fae look at each other as like a whole big bundle of chaotic
Mhm.
family, and this
Mhm.
is like everyone knows like when you get together, you try to figure out how you're related to someone,
Mhm.
and you're like, oh, you're great,
You're
great,
so and
great,
so's
great,
mother or
yeah,
grandson.
yeah,
Mhm. I think where Mega Jumper came from was like a very homogenous uh Fey village, like with rabbit folk and fawns and all different types of like were animal people. Um, and she is constantly trying to outdo everyone at her village
hmm
so that she can come back and be like, look at me. I'm so important. I can jump
hmm
so far. Isn't that so cool of me?
hmm So where just like the history aspect of it, because it seems
Oh,
like this is a very
so
isolated
the village itself is
village.
isolated, yes, but that it has a very, very long history of, like, I like to imagine that the village was started, like, sometime in the Dark Ages where these fey creatures, like, all found each other and were like, "Oh, we should band together and create a little sanctuary for ourselves and be safe from all the evil going around."
hmm
Um, and so that's why they're so interested in the Dark Ages to begin with, because that's where their village maybe
hmm
started, or, like, maybe right after we killed the the 3 queens, like,
hmm
that's when their village became, like,
hmm
able to actually thrive.
Do you think this is a local village, or do you think this you kind of came from a bit far away? Because there's a large like jungle kind of forest that I don't know what to do with.
I
Um,
think,
but
yeah, a
it's
little bit
got a
more.
cool name. It's the Force of the Sun.
Ooh.
And I was thinking that like this is where a lot of wood elves are, and so
Mm,
they have like a prominent kind of civilization that was built up here, and those that have stayed behind. This is like if the wood elves exist in a world, if they have their territory, it's kind of in the Gulf of the Moon, in the
mm,
Forest of the Sun, kind of in this area. But it's a large area in a branching continent, Unea, um, but kind of all connected in this big U shape. Um, I haven't done anything with that. That might be a fun place to have it. And we are starting someplace very cold, so it might be
mhm.
like a fun contrast.
She's interested in, like, how the dragons were killed, like,
hmm
what the battle was like, and, like, how, the people in the stories that she's reading are influencing the world around them.
hmm
That's like what
how one person can change the world.
Mhm. How like one action like can set off an entire chain of events.
I think this would also be a good point, not important now, but moving forward, to work together to figure out what does the world know about how it went down?
Mhm.
Like what was revealed from your characters to everyone else, and what stories might have developed over time or been passed around. Because also
Yes.
something to remember, and this is something that I think is cool and I want to like get across, is that when the world split, there is still this tethered connection to everyone's souls, where people will see glimpses and flashes of them in that other world. Now, obviously, a lot of years have gone by. A lot of people that would exist in that old world don't ever get the chance to.
Mm.
So the number of people who are still having visions um, nowadays is much more limited. But in the time uh, uh, earlier on, definitely people were having glimpses. And I think the elves,
Yeah, I was gonna
um,
say the elves
Mhm.
straight up know.
the
Yeah, they
elves
do.
Uh,
know.
yeah, they straight up know what happened. And there's a reason why Lumina isn't ever back on Alfheim.
My
Yeah,
foot is
I think the next thing to do is just if everyone's ready, we can just roll stats. To preface for rolling, we're going to use my system of rolling, which
Okay.
isn't super unlike standard D&D. It's roll 46, drop the lowest. But the difference is that I don't want you guys to have shit stats. Um, so this is what I will do. If you do not get a single stat above a 15, you can re-roll automatically for free. If you get a stat of scores that has an ability score of 15 or higher, but doesn't have anything that you like, you can re-roll once, but you have to take the next roll.
Is it reroll the entire set?
It's the re-roll the entire set, yeah.
Okay.
So you get a whole
Just
new
confirming.
set, but you have to use a new set.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do we want these rolls to be through roll 20 or?
Yeah, I think so.
I was
That's
thinking that,
why I set up the
yeah,
the thing to see
Okay.
the roll 20 chat.
which I
Making
know
sure.
you guys don't love, but I
Uh-huh.
think it would
No, I
be
think
I am
that
fine.
takes
I
the
am
math
more
out of it for
comfortable.
me.
Yeah.
I am more comfortable with it when it comes to like D6 and D8s and stuff like that. But D20s always fuck me.
Okay, well, I hate to tell you, but we're going to be using Roll20 for the campaign so
Yeah.
that the audience can see dice rolls, and I will be making important rolls in
What if
On-
we what if
Roll20 as well.
Now,
what if
So-
we
Jacob,
had
you
a
gotta use roll
dedicated
20. We
dice
gotta use
stream?
roll 20. You gotta use roll 20.
You
I
can
will,
do the
hey, I
secret
will do it
DM
like last
rolls.
time. Well, I will, like the way I did it last time, where it's like, hey, this is an important roll that will determine like a counter spell. I will roll that die for everyone to see, kind of like how Brennan Lee Mulligan has his box of doom. I will
No,
use
no,
Roll20
no, no,
because
no. I'm not
let's
even
face it,
talking. No, Jacob. I'm not
Roll20
even
is a box
talking.
of doom.
Actually, yeah, but it's always Doom.
Yes.
Also, it looks like Mal's already rolled her first one. So
Yeah.
Wanted to
Yeah.
make
I guess
Spyro
Mal's
hot.
starting.
I'm
God
gonna
damn
go.
it.
So your first set's a 12.
Mhm.
Brian, the reason I did.
What the
12,
fuck?
12, 16.
Why is Spyro
Jacob?
hot?
Yeah,
Jacob,
yeah.
what's 17 minus 2?
15. Yeah, don't talk to me.
Listen, I also was like, yeah, that sounds
12?
right.
12. Wow.
17? Okay.
That's good. That's really good.
Wow. And one
One
more.
more?
Hey, now,
So what is that?
here's a question. Do you want to re-roll? Or do you want to take this when you 100%
See,
take
what is
this?
that?
These are
12,
Yeah.
15, 8,
Yeah.
11,
12,
17. Or sorry,
And
yeah.
11. Yeah, I'm taking it.
12.
Yeah, so let's
17,
type that out. So what is that? That's 11, 15, 8,
12, 15.
12,
Wait, 12,
minus
There's
12.
17,
Two 12s.
11.
2 12s, Jacob.
Two 12s and
Oh, that
11
first
and
one's
8.
A 12.
Oh shit.
So, in order, going down, I got this.
This
Is
message has
a
been hidden.
12,
12.
15, 8, 12, 17, 11.
11.
Okay.
Mega jumper.
All right. Those are pretty good stats.
I'm
That's
very.
really good.
And
Yeah.
This is like the
your
best
dex
I've
and your
ever
wisdom?
rolled.
You
Yeah.
got your dex and wisdom, and you still got room to have a decent intelligence off the start.
All right.
Just,
Brian,
I guess
Brian,
we're gonna go with Brian.
Brian,
Yeah.
Brian, Brian, Brian.
Yeah.
Starting off
Okay.
pretty good.
Yeah.
That is not. I am not rolling 4d4. It is
You can just
4d6,
You
brain.
can hit the up button, and it will
I
just
know.
refresh the.
Okay.
12?
Okay. Okay.
13.
13?
What the fuck?
We're going up. We're going up.
Okay.
Oh, damn.
That's a
15?
14. That's a 15
Yeah, that's still
15?
good.
That's still. I mean, it's not as good.
Hey, and a
and
16.
a 16.
16.
Okay.
Yeah, those are good
Okay.
stats.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
I can make
it's a
that
good
work.
barbarian. It's a
Okay.
good barbarian.
Yeah.
Nothing below
Yeah,
10.
let's
Nothing below
start
10.
with
That
a-
is,
with
if
a
you
Make that
nine.
work.
wanna
Nothing
type in
below a
chat,
12. It's
it's
nothing below a 12, Brian. That's really good.
Yeah.
I can
It's-
make that work.
15, 12,
12,
12,
13,
15.
15,
16.
16. So that's a
Seth,
numbers.
Seth.
15.
Seth.
Give me a second. Let me type
Wait.
this out.
Yeah,
before we-
Brian's typing out the total.
12. That's another 12. That's a 13. And then a 15 and a 16. That's actually not bad looking at
That
it
is
again.
not bad at
That's,
all.
Yeah, no,
that
that's
is
that's very
3
good.
plus 2. That
Perfectly
is,
average.
that's 2 plus 2s and a
Love
plus 3. That's really nice.
That is really good. All right.
Okay. Slash roll.
Seth.
4d6.
Seth.
Hey.
Okay.
Buggers.
Starting off with some heat.
No. But you see, now I'm only gonna roll 6s.
Oh,
There is a
Hey.
16.
That's a 16.
And
Hey,
the
you've got
total.
two stats. You've got your two stats that you need.
The two stats.
Everything else can be bad,
Okay.
but it's not gonna be. You're rolling really
Uh,
well.
16.
That's a 16. That's another 16.
wow.
Okay.
Whoa,
Holy
Okay.
That's a
Okay.
15.
wow.
what the fuck? Roll 20
That's two
loves us
15s
today.
and two 16s.
Thank you, Roll 20.
Roll
Hey,
20.
there we go. There we go.
There it is.
I needed my negative.
There
Listen,
it
if I
is.
didn't get anything under a 10, I was going to elect to reduce something to below a 10 for my intelligence.
That's fair.
There it is.
There we go! There we go!
Oh, man.
5.
The guy.
I'm good with this.
15, 16, 16, 15,
15.
9.
9. 5.
5.
Wow. Oh my goodness. That is
You know,
fantastic.
This could have
Okay,
only
yeah,
been
yeah.
made better. This could have only been better if that last 3.
Yeah, it was also a 1.
Well, I made a
That
joke
would've
earlier
been
about Seth rolling a 3 for
insanity.
intelligence.
That
You know,
was so
Seth,
funny.
I think it'd be really
Oh
funny
my
if you
goodness.
elected to go down anyway.
No.
Yeah,
no,
can I bring that 5 down a little bit?
I think the 5 is perfect for how you described Havoc. I
Yeah.
think that's great.
Yeah, he's fucking dumb.
He's not the smartest kid on the block.
Oh my
right.
goodness.
Josh.
Josh.
Start strong.
Do it.
18. Here it comes. 18. Here it
We haven't,
comes. Our
we
first
haven't
18.
had an 18 yet.
Damn.
That's
Close.
okay.
That's a
Okay.
14.
Decent.
14?
Number 2, 11.
Okay. 11. All right.
Number 3, 10,
Okay.
4,
Okay.
10,
And
5. Seth, we're rocking 5s, boy. Oh, God.
Alright, Josh.
Whoa!
It's
There's
18.
the 18. There we go.
There we go. Start with a 20 in
Okay,
intelligence.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jacob, I also have a question. When we do race stats, are we doing it like Xanathars, where if you have a 2 and a 1, you can mix it up, or does it go
We-
only where?
You can mix it up. You can use the
Cool.
whole
Hey,
Tasha's worth of +2
it's-
+1.
It's
Custom
real
lineage.
funny because if Jacob didn't say that, I would do it anyway. Shush. I did that before Tasha's.
Oh.
Like, before I was like, this is dumb. I don't want a strong dwarf. Weak dwarf.
Yeah.
High
Okay.
game.
Yeah, we got 2 5s. I'm guessing you're just gonna dump strength.
No, that 5 is probably going in wisdom.
Oh, okay.
You are
Valid.
book smart as a motherfucker. Street smarts,
100%.
not there.
100%.
Wave's very naive.
5.
And now, Josh, I
That's
will say,
it.
if you want to re-roll, you have a re-roll. Although I don't know.
Well, he did get
Being
an
a-
18,
like
which
to
means he's
have
got
my
to
He did an
start with a
18.
20 in
I
intelligence.
like that. And I got a 14. I'll probably put that in constitution so I don't like die immediately. And like
Your plus
my
one can
strength,
go.
dex, and charisma. Not,
I'll be plus here.
Who's
No?
our face?
yeah.
Who's the
Yeah.
face of our? Hold on.
Seth. Seth is the face,
Seth?
and he's
Retard.
the idiot.
Retard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, it's I'm gonna put my
Perfect.
plus. I might put a plus
Um,
1 into that, make it a minus
I-
2.
I-
Rolling dice. I would like if we're gonna do this. Do people want to do Xanathars?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that stuff.
Run
Yeah,
it.
I'd love
Okay.
to do that.
Okay. So
Hey, how do I fudge roll a d4 and just say
Uh,
/ roll 4?
no, I'll have you guys roll d6. Technically a d6 is only for 31 to 40, but I think that's stupid. So we're gonna do a d6. So Mal,
Hmm?
could you roll a d6? 5. Okay.
Hey.
D100.
96.
You encountered something magical. Some of these are stupid, but I'll make it
Duck
kind of cool.
up.
Roll d10.
8.
Okay, how do we make this work? Sorry, I need to open a new document so I can write
did
some of
that.
this stuff out.
Her name is officially Juniper Megari.
Juniper Mega.
Mega.
I switched it
Jacob,
around.
Get used
I
to it.
switched it around.
Jump mega.
Wait,
Yeah.
oh wait,
I did the
Brian,
same thing
do you
with
have
Gravity
a do you have a
Wave.
name for your character?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Why?
Barb Arian.
Well, because so far we got June.
No,
Arian.
I
Havoc
am not
and
doing
Wade.
Arian as a white guy with blonde hair and blue eyes. No.
Okay.
Arian?
So you
No.
identified some sort of strange illusion for what it was. We're gonna say that this illusion was cloaking a. It was cloaking a abandoned temple from the Dark Ages.
Mm.
It was some sort of hidden shrine to Queen Dione, where a messenger would feed information.
Ooh.
You have, and this was at. Is this something? Maybe this was at home that sparked. Okay, so this was at home in the Forest of the. What's it called? Forest of the Sun.
Mhm.
This acts as like more of a catalyst towards your own
Studies into
investigations.
just-
Mhm.
Is there?
And I'll say you have a artifact.
Mhm.
Um, we'll say you don't know what it does. Um, there is some sort of magic cloaking it and preventing you from connecting with it.
Oh.
And so, as part of your research here, this has been like an independent
Mhm.
project you've been working on. And we will say that it is a what's an interesting artifact you would have found there? It was used as like a shrine for communication. I'd say it's a holy symbol.
Oh, like a sending stone or something.
Yeah, something like that. It's like a holy symbol amulet
Of Queen Diane.
of Queen Diana. Yeah, it's the black eyes with the black tears kind of coming down the side, similar to that talisman of ultimate evil. So
Mm-hmm.
that same logo. And that is your first thing. That's a fun one.
That is very
And
fun.
that's kind of how that works. It gives you a baseline, but you really just kind of I like this because it allows me as a DM to just kind of improv stuff, and I didn't have a plan for that to be part of her backstory, and I don't entirely know what
That's
that amulet is, but I'm gonna figure it out. And I really love Xanathars and what they have in here for that because I like chance, I like the randomness of once you jump into D&D, so to have that in the pre-story, the character creation, I think is fun. So yeah, roll another D100 for me.
I gotta roll it. Okay. 12.
12. All right. These, I'm not sure if these are good. These are all right. You struck a bit of good fortune, rune on the boons table. Roll another d10.
4.
4. Okay. This one's a bit boring. Um, roll a d20 though.
9.
Okay. Basically, all it is that you start with some extra money. So you start with an extra 9 gold pieces. How you came upon that, uh, is up to you.
Hmm. I bet someone
Maybe
that I could jump to the top of a tree. And they didn't believe me. So I said, I'll bet you 9 gold for it. And then I did it.
okay, fair enough. Easy as that. Roll another d100. I'll sometimes skip over those, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna try to just
60?
unless it's like a repeat 64. Okay, that's stupid. Because you basically already got extra money. And
Okay.
that's just like, you have a job, roll an extra 2d6 gold.
99.
Okay. Wow, you really like this stuff. Roll another d10. This is the Arcane Matters again.
Oh,
So this will probably be a bit more recent.
5.
Okay, you found a spell scroll.
So, Jacob, question.
Uh-huh.
You're fine with
Yeah.
me reflavoring weapons and stuff like that as different things, right?
Yeah, like the tail and claw and to
Okay.
whatever you want. Yeah.
So outside of rage, I'm as a part of starting weapons, you get a martial weapon and then 2 hand axes.
Uh-huh.
Um, I was going to replace the hand axes with daggers so that they're D4s.
Yeah.
And I was going to have the whip represent tail, and the daggers represent
I mean, don't
hand.
you get those abilities? Or
If
is it
I
only when you're
transform,
raging?
when I
Okay.
transform, I get those abilities.
I mean,
So
you get
I
to, because
was
you get hand axes. Like, those are
yes, but
still.
those are D6s and dual wielding. And are we sticking? Are we still going to be using the rule of if you're dual wielding, it doesn't take a bonus action, or are we gonna add that?
Yeah, I like the one D&D their rule for that,
Okay,
so I'm fine with that.
then because
Yeah, I guess it is the same
I don't want
damage
that.
type. Yeah.
I don't want the hand axes to just become the same fucking thing.
Yeah,
So
it's your
I'm gonna
tail.
throw
Like your
daggers
claws.
instead,
Yeah, drop it.
which are
So
D4s.
okay, so you do more damage when you transform,
Yes,
essentially. So
and
you're choosing lower.
Yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah.
So
whips
you're
are a
I
choosing.
was I was
D6.
thinking the normal D&D where it'd
Yep.
take your bonus action. Where it'd be Like,
Yeah, if
or
it took my
Action
bonus action,
Academy kind of thing.
if it took my bonus action, I would go with hand axes because at that point I am having to use my bonus action to take another attack. But since
Yeah.
we're going with the 1D&D rules, daggers.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Yeah. 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 So it's kind of because the claw also gives you an extra attack action as part of the same. Okay. So
Correct.
it's blended so that you do more damage when you transform. Okay. Yeah, I
Correct.
like that. That's good.
Yeah.
So
Um. Right. So you found a spell scroll. Now in this, it's written that you succeeded in casting it. And that something happened. I think it might be. Oh, hmm. I don't know. What are your thoughts on like finding a spell scroll? Like, what do you think about that, Mal?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was typing my stuff in. What did you say about the spell scroll?
I don't know what to do with it, essentially, is all I'm trying to say. Because you
What
get
if
a spell
it's
scroll. I can
what if,
choose what it is. I don't know what it is.
what if it's like another artifact from the Dark Ages?
It could be. That gives you a lot of stuff that you're looking for. Maybe maybe they were found in tandem with one
Yeah,
another.
together. Like
Um,
maybe it's like a sending spell scroll or something.
It's a very specific
Or
knock scroll.
message. Oh yeah.
Like this is
Like
this was
it can only be used for
yeah.
this specific thing.
mhm. Yeah, I'll say find a spell scroll. It's a temporary dispel.
Mm.
It's a dispel magic, but it's more of like a dampening.
Mm.
And it was used probably to like get in here. I'll also note that when you entered the illusion,
Mhm.
there was probably some sort of like arcane explosion or defense mechanism, which you survived
By jumping.
by jumping.
Of course.
Everything is
By
by jumping.
jumping deeper into the uh what's it called?
Mhm.
Hidden temple and avoiding the blast. But it would if you weren't kind of prepared for something to go off, you probably would have died.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, and then you found later on that there's a way to like go in and out. And I'll say this is a spell scroll that I'll make this a custom item because it's not like an official spell. It's probably
Mhm.
like a first level version of like a dispel magic.
Okay.
Um, that I'll create some sort of it's basically a magical item that has some sort of charge function.
Mm.
We'll work with that later on. Roll another D100.
1.
Okay,
Ah,
you
dang.
suffered a tragedy.
Oh,
Oh
damn
no.
it.
Roll a D12.
Oh, oh. Uh, 11.
Okay, a romantic relationship ended.
Oh.
Roll a D6. An odd number means it ended with bad feelings, while an even means it ended amicably.
You said D10?
D6, but it's just
D6.
evens or odds, so it doesn't really matter.
Odds.
Odds, okay, ended with bad feelings. Um, so let's quickly get into the identity of this person. Ended relationship, ended bad.
Mhm.
So we're gonna switch over to this area. So roll a D100 for me. We're gonna figure out their occupation.
75.
75. A laborer.
Okay.
Um, roll D100.
I promise I won't make her whole personality jumping. Oh, that's 200.
I
But it's an
hope
85.
you do.
85.
85.
Also, Mal, I know you're definitely taking like item springing or the ring of jumping for your magic item, but I did see an uncommon item called the like bottle of the drunkard or something like that that just lets you regain a health potion for drinking a pint of beer.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I might have to look.
So half elf, does that sound okay with you?
Mhm.
Um, then we'll do the status. Roll 3d6.
5, a 1, and a 1.
5, 1, 1, so 7. Ooh, they're alive but not doing well financially.
Ooh, Jesus, did I steal from?
Or, I mean, would it be injury, financial trouble, or just relationship difficulties?
Hmm.
Who do you see this person being?
I see this person being like somebody that I brought with me from my village. Like we were in a relationship before I went to college, and that person came with me to college, but was not actually going to college.
Mm-hmm.
So they spent all their money trying to keep up with me in the college lifestyle.
Okay. Financially ruined. And maybe they're a laborer now because that's just what they can get work doing, but
And they blame me for taking them out there.
yeah, maybe they had aspiring goals as something else. Let's have a roll D100. We'll see, because that determines class, what I'm looking at here. That might help give a idea of where their passions were drawn.
42.
42. Okay, it would have been really awkward if I got like a warlock. 42 is just a fighter.
Okay.
So I see that as really just a. They could be anyone.
Hmm.
I think this is a character that I will try to develop more. What's their gender?
Female.
Female? Okay. Um, yeah, and let's maybe roll another D100 to see what her previous occupation was before she's kind of gotten stuck in this rut.
Can I roll a 1? Can I roll 100 for how hot she is?
Sure.
70% hot.
70% hot. Okay.
83 was the one I got before that.
83. Okay.
Mal, can you roll just a 1d10 for a personality bonus?
Now, I don't know.
Odds is negative.
Oh, jeez. Well, maybe this will go well with what you rolled as far as uh, maybe their desired occupation, which here it's listed as politician or bureaucrat, but maybe that's within the um plan or within that region. It's like that's she wanted to like kind of develop and grow up there, and more so saw you going to school as a way to like because there was this darkness that you found back at home, this old temple, and like part of you going to school, maybe some of the funding that you got from the village was like, hey,
Mhm.
like we
Figure
need
out
to
what's happened here.
figure out what's happening here. So she went with you as like someone who wants to, as like a soldier and someone who wants to like grow up in the ranks of the clan. It's like
Mhm.
this is like her journey as well. And since you've broken off, like you're still here because you're both trying to like seek answers and she's trying to do what she can, but really is feeling like she can't do much. Um, what do you think caused the breakup? Like, there's actually a. Do you think it was your fault or her fault? And if
I think
not,
I
we
was
can
getting
roll.
too many bitches. I think I was getting too many bitches. This was the problem.
So too many people.
Too many people wanted me. Okay.
Too many people wanted uh Juniper, and she got jealous.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Juniper is not very good at
Yeah, I saw that
expressing.
charisma you have.
So she's like, huh? What? Who? You? Me? Okay.
Okay. I think that's pretty good. We can develop that more in the future. Roll your last D100 for me.
13.
Or oh, sorry. Oh yeah, 13's right. Reroll.
Okay.
Because that's just a
52.
stupid one.
Did I
What
get
do you get?
52?
Roll again. That's just a starting money, and that's stupid.
86.
86. Okay, you fought in a battle.
Ooh.
Roll on the war table. Roll a d12.
8.
8. Okay, you survive the battle, but you suffer from terrible nightmares in which you relive the experience.
Mm. Damn.
We'll say your clan was attacked by a um young, maybe not young. It was a black dragon.
Oh.
And the concern is from the old elders
Hmm.
who knew of the past, were aware of the history of the Dark Ages and the three black dragons. Having a black dragon in the area and then also having relics of that time, there's a fear and concern that there's something dark lingering from the Dark Ages in your
This is
home.
the perfect tie into it's perfectly
Yeah.
like a little so beautiful. She just wants to stop the past from repeating itself. She's studying the history so that she can stop it.
And she's jumping.
And she's jumping about it.
She wants to just jump to the future.
She's
Yep.
jumping to the future.
So thank you for anyone who's watched this far into the session 0. If you were interested in these characters, the start of this campaign, we really appreciate it. I know some of us had to go, and that's just the way of things. This honestly took a lot longer than I thought it would, just kind of going over
5.5
everyone's
hours.
characters. Yeah, 5.5 hours. It's going to be way cut down for you guys, and you're not going to hear half the stuff we talked about, but I'm really excited for you all to check out our newest campaign and how all of this really gets going. Hope you all have a great one. If you've made it this far, please leave your comments for whatever you're excited about in this campaign, and please subscribe. If you made it this far, you're evidently interested. So yeah, have a great day, everyone.
Bye.